The paradox of fulfillment, why comfort can be your enemy. What does it mean to live a fulfilled life? Is it about reaching a state of comfort where all your needs are met and challenges seem far away? Or is it about something deeper, something more enduring, even if it's harder to achieve? Socrates, the legendary philosopher who challenged the norms of his time, believed that true fulfillment isn't found in comfort, it's found in the pursuit of wisdom, growth, and truth. This is the paradox of fulfillment. Comfort, the thing we think will make us happy, can often become our greatest obstacle. To understand this, we need to start with what Socrates called the examined life. He famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." What he meant was simple but profound. Living well requires us to question ourselves constantly. Why do we believe what we believe? Why do we make the choices we make? And, most importantly, what kind of life are we building through those choices? Comfort, Socrates would argue, is one of the greatest distractions from this kind of questioning. Why? Because when we're comfortable, we're less likely to challenge ourselves. We fall into routines, accept surface-level answers, and avoid the discomfort of deeper reflection. But here's the catch: without that reflection, we risk living lives that are shallow, disconnected, and ultimately unfulfilling. Think about it. When was the last time you truly stepped outside your comfort zone? Not just to try something new, but to confront a hard truth about yourself or the world around you. These moments can be unsettling, even painful, but they're also where growth happens. Socrates believed that discomfort is a necessary part of the journey to wisdom. Without it, we stay stagnant, clinging to illusions instead of seeking the truth. Here's an analogy. Imagine you're sitting in a dark room, comfortable on a plush couch. It's warm, it's familiar, and it feels safe. But outside the room is a bright, vast world full of opportunities and challenges. To experience it, you have to leave the couch, open the door, and step into the unknown. That step might be scary. The light might hurt your eyes at first, but once you adjust, you'll see things you never could have imagined from inside the room. Socrates would challenge us to take that step. He believed that true fulfillment comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it. Discomfort is the price we pay for growth, and growth is the path to a meaningful life. But here's where the paradox deepens. Comfort isn't just physical. It's also mental. We cling to ideas, beliefs, and habits that feel familiar, even when they no longer serve us. Socrates called these false certainties, and he saw them as one of the greatest barriers to wisdom. To live well, he believed, we must question these certainties relentlessly. What assumptions are we making about ourselves, about others, about the world? And are those assumptions helping us grow, or are they holding us back?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let me ask you something. What's one belief you hold that you've never questioned? Maybe it's about success, happiness, or what it means to live a good life. What would happen if you challenged that belief? Socrates would argue that this kind of questioning is the key to liberation, not from external constraints, but from the limits we place on ourselves. This doesn't mean rejecting comfort entirely. Socrates wasn't a Stoic who believed in suffering for its own sake. He recognized that some level of comfort is necessary for stability and well-being. But he also knew that when comfort becomes our primary goal, it leads to complacency. The trick is to use comfort as a foundation, not a destination. It should give us the strength to explore, not the excuse to settle. But questioning isn't enough on its own. Socrates also emphasized the importance of dialogue, what he called dialectic. He believed that truth emerges through conversation, through the exchange of ideas and perspectives. This requires humility, the willingness to admit that we don't have all the answers and courage the willingness to engage with others, even when it's uncomfortable. Think about your own life. Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to think deeply, who push you to grow? Or are you staying in an echo chamber of comfort, where your beliefs are never questioned? Socrates would remind us that the people we engage with shape the kind of life we live. Choose those who inspire you to be better, not just those who make you feel good. The paradox of fulfillment is this: the more we chase comfort, the further we move from the things that truly fulfill us. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it rarely leaves us satisfied. True fulfillment comes from growth, and growth requires us to step into the unknown. It's not easy, but it's worth it. So, here's the challenge Socrates leaves us with. Are you willing to leave your comfortable room? Are you ready to question the beliefs, habits, and routines that keep you stagnant? The examined life isn't always comfortable, but it's the only path to a life of true meaning. The discomfort of growth: why Socrates saw struggle as essential to fulfillment. In the first part of our journey, we explored how comfort, while enticing, can prevent us from seeking the deeper truths that lead to a fulfilling life. But Socrates didn't stop at encouraging self-examination. He pushed further, arguing that true growth requires embracing struggle and discomfort. For him, growth wasn't a byproduct of fulfillment, it was the very path to it. Let's dive deeper into why struggle is so essential and why avoiding it leads to stagnation. Socrates believed that the human soul thrives on challenges. Growth, he argued, comes not from staying within the boundaries of what's familiar, but from pushing against them. Think about this: every meaningful breakthrough in life, whether personal, intellectual, or emotional, likely involved a period of discomfort or uncertainty. It's in these moments, when we confront the limits of our understanding or abilities, that transformation occurs. But why do we resist discomfort so much? Part of the answer lies in our nature. We're wired to seek safety and predictability. Comfort provides a sense of control, a shield against the chaos of the unknown. Yet, Socrates saw this tendency as a double-edged sword. While comfort protects us, it also limits us. It keeps us from exploring the very uncertainties that could lead to insight, growth, and fulfillment. Here's a question worth pondering: when was the last time you deliberately chose discomfort? Not because you had to, but because you knew it would help you grow. Socrates would argue that these choices are what define us. By facing discomfort head-on, we build resilience, expand our horizons, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world. Take, for instance, the famous Socratic method of questioning. Socrates would engage his students in relentless dialogue, asking probing questions that forced them to confront contradictions in their thinking. This process was often frustrating. Imagine being asked to explain not just what you believe, but why you believe it, only to realize you can't. Yet this frustration was precisely the point. Socrates understood that growth begins when we recognize the gaps in our knowledge. This is why he famously declared, "I know that I know nothing." It wasn't a statement of ignorance, it was a statement of humility. By admitting what we don't know, we open ourselves to learning. But that learning requires us to sit with discomfort, to confront the unsettling possibility that our assumptions might be wrong. Think about your own life. Is there an area where you've been avoiding discomfort, perhaps a conversation you've been putting off, a decision you've been postponing, or a truth you've been reluctant to face? Socrates would challenge us to lean into that discomfort, not as a punishment, but as a path to clarity and growth. Here's another layer to this: struggle doesn't just help us grow, it also deepens our capacity for empathy and connection. Socrates believed that by understanding our own struggles, we become better equipped to understand others. When we face challenges, we gain insight into the shared human experience. This is what makes dialogue so powerful. It's not just about exchanging ideas, it's about connecting through our shared vulnerabilities. But let's be honest, embracing struggle is hard. It requires courage, the courage to step into uncertainty, to risk failure, and to face the possibility of discomfort without flinching. Socrates understood this, which is why he saw courage as one of the cardinal virtues. For him, courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was the willingness to act despite it. Here's a practical way to apply this: start small. You don't have to dive into life's biggest challenges all at once. Begin by leaning into minor discomforts, engaging in a difficult conversation, trying something new, or questioning a long-held belief. Each step builds your capacity for resilience and growth. Socrates also believed that struggle sharpens our sense of purpose. When we face challenges, we're forced to ask, why am I doing this? What truly matters to me? In this way, struggle becomes a filter, helping us separate what's important from what's trivial. It clarifies our values and aligns our actions with our deeper goals. Here's the paradox: while struggle is uncomfortable in the moment, it's what leads to lasting fulfillment. Comfort might feel good temporarily, but it doesn't satisfy our deeper longing for meaning and growth. By contrast, struggle pushes us to evolve, to expand, and to discover what we're truly capable of. Socrates leaves us with this challenge: are you willing to embrace the discomfort of growth? Can you see struggle not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity to become more fully yourself? The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. True fulfillment isn't found in avoiding discomfort, it's found in using it to forge a life of meaning, purpose, and wisdom. The freedom beyond comfort: how Socrates connects discomfort to true autonomy. We've explored how discomfort drives growth and why Socrates saw struggle as an essential path to fulfillment. Now, let's dive into another powerful insight: the connection between discomfort and freedom. For Socrates, true freedom isn't the absence of restrictions, it's the ability to live according to your values and reason, unshackled by fear, ignorance, or fleeting desires. And paradoxically, this kind of freedom often requires us to confront discomfort head-on. Let's start by defining what freedom really means. In our modern world, freedom is often equated with choice: the freedom to buy what we want, live where we want, live where we want, or do what we want. But Socrates would argue that this is a shallow understanding. Real freedom, he believed, is internal. It's about mastery over your own mind, emotions, and actions. It's the ability to live with integrity, guided by wisdom rather than impulses or external pressures. But here's the catch: achieving this kind of freedom requires discipline. It demands that we question our desires, challenge our habits, and resist the pull of immediate gratification. This isn't easy. It's much more comfortable to go with the flow, to follow our instincts, or to conform to societal norms. Yet, as Socrates would remind us, this comfort comes at a cost. It keeps us trapped in what he called ignorance, a state where we're controlled by forces we don't even recognize. Think about it: how often do we make choices not because they align with our values, but because they're convenient or familiar? How often do we avoid difficult decisions because they feel uncomfortable? Socrates would argue that these moments reveal the limits of our freedom. To live freely, we must be willing to confront the discomfort of questioning our choices, resisting temptation, and doing what's right even when it's hard. Here's a practical example. Imagine you're faced with a choice between sticking to a goal like exercising, saving money, or pursuing a passion or giving in to a short-term temptation. The easier path might be to skip the workout, splurge on something unnecessary, or procrastinate on your project. It feels good in the moment, but over time, these choices chip away at your freedom. You become a prisoner of your own impulses, unable to act in alignment with your deeper goals. Socrates believed that true freedom comes from aligning your life with reason and virtue. But this doesn't mean denying pleasure or suppressing emotion, it means understanding them and choosing wisely. When we master our desires, rather than letting them master us, we gain a kind of autonomy that no external circumstance can take away. But let's be honest, this kind of freedom is hard to achieve. It requires what Socrates called self-examination, the relentless questioning of our own motives and actions. Why do I want this? What am I avoiding? Is this choice leading me toward the life I want to create, or is it pulling me away from it? These questions can be uncomfortable, even unsettling, but they're also liberating. Here's a question for you. What's one area of your life where you feel stuck or constrained? Is it your job, your relationships, your habits? And how much of that constraint is coming from external factors versus your own unwillingness to face discomfort? Socrates would challenge us to take responsibility, not in a self-critical way, but in an empowering way. When we acknowledge our role in creating our reality, we gain the freedom to change it. The connection between discomfort and freedom isn't just about individual choices, it's also about how we engage with the world. Socrates believed that living well means not only questioning ourselves, but also engaging in dialogue with others. This requires the courage to speak honestly, to listen openly, and to be challenged. It's much easier to stay in an echo chamber of like-minded people, but true growth and true freedom comes from stepping outside of that comfort zone. Consider this: when was the last time you had a conversation that genuinely challenged your perspective? Not an argument, but a dialogue, a mutual exploration of ideas that left you questioning your assumptions. Socrates would argue that these moments are essential to a free and fulfilling life. They remind us that freedom isn't about being right, it's about being open. Finally, Socrates teaches us that freedom isn't a destination, it's a practice. It's something we cultivate daily, through our choices, our habits, and our interactions. It's about living intentionally, not passively. And yes, it requires discomfort. But that discomfort is the price we pay for a life of integrity, authenticity, and autonomy. Here's the challenge Socrates leaves us with: are you willing to trade comfort for freedom? Can you face the discomfort of questioning your choices, mastering your desires, and engaging deeply with others? The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. True freedom isn't found in avoiding discomfort, it's found in using it to create a life that's truly your own. The fulfillment of struggle, embracing the paradox of a life well lived. We've walked with Socrates through the discomfort of growth, the challenge of self-mastery, and the liberating power of true freedom. Now we arrive at the ultimate question: how do we reconcile the paradox of fulfillment? If comfort isn't the goal, but struggle is also not an end in itself, then where does true fulfillment lie? Socrates offers us a profound answer. Fulfillment comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it as part of a meaningful and examined life. At the heart of this paradox is a deep truth: struggle is what gives life its richness. Think about your proudest achievements or the moments when you felt most alive. Were they easy? Probably not. Fulfillment isn't about smooth sailing, it's about the effort, the learning, and the transformation that come from navigating life's challenges. Socrates understood that struggle isn't an obstacle to fulfillment, it's the very soil from which fulfillment grows. But here's where it gets interesting. Socrates didn't see struggle as something to endure for its own sake. He saw it as a tool, a way to cultivate virtues like courage, wisdom, and resilience. The key is to engage with struggle intentionally, aligning it with your values and purpose. Struggle without purpose is suffering, but struggle with purpose is growth. Let's make this practical. Think about an area of your life where you're facing a challenge, whether it's a career decision, a personal goal, or a relationship. What would it look like to approach that challenge with intention, viewing it not as a problem to escape, but as an opportunity to grow? How might that shift your mindset and your actions? Socrates also believed that fulfillment requires us to find joy in the process, not just the outcome. This is where the paradox becomes liberating. When we stop fixating on external results, achievements, recognition, or comfort, and instead focus on how we're living right now, we discover a deeper kind of satisfaction. Fulfillment isn't something we achieve someday, it's something we experience in the moment, through the act of striving. Here's a question worth pondering: what if the life you're building isn't just about where you're going, but how you're getting there? What if the struggles you face today are the very things shaping you into the person you're meant to become? Finally, Socrates reminds us that fulfillment isn't a solo journey. It's about connection to ourselves, to others, and to something greater than ourselves. When we engage with life fully, embracing both its joys and its challenges, we inspire others to do the same. Our struggles become stories of growth, and our lives become examples of what's possible. So, here's the final challenge: can you embrace the paradox of fulfillment? Can you see comfort not as the enemy, but as a stepping stone? Can you face struggle not with fear, but with curiosity and courage? Socrates believed that the examined life isn't just worth living, it's the most fulfilling life of all. The question is, are you ready to live it? The time to begin is now.